Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's your boy, Delightful Kissboy, and today I just wanted to chat a little bit about, existence, existential dread, etc., and the coping mechanisms that I try to employ to stay sane in a crazy, crazy world. It's maybe not going to be the most positive video out there, but, why not make it? I've been feeling a little bit contemplative, a little bit, reflective on what I do in my life in general and just, the state of things. And I thought, why not just yap a little bit before work? I got some coffee here and, I don't know, people seem to like it when I yap sometimes. And so maybe some people will relate to this. If you don't, all good. I'm just speaking into the void. No big deal. Second channel video. But yeah, so let's just start off with what I'm talking about. Now, I am no stranger to angst, existential dread, existential angst. I have, the occasional bout of depression. By occasional, I mean relatively frequent. You know how it goes. And then, occasional anxiety. I'm not as much anxious as I do get depressed. But, just kind of wanted to offer my perspective. Now, this is just my perspective. I'm not even one who employs what I'm going to be preaching all that often necessarily. These are just things that I try to do, but fail to do often. All right, that's how it goes. But, we strive to be better every single day of our lives, but, with varying degrees of success. Anyway, a couple things that have just kind of helped me over the years with just general dread and, depression and things like that are kind of two main things that I want to mention first up, which is, number one is kind of realizing that perspectives that I have on the world, thinking that the world seems to be a bad, place, or that, life is terrifying, etc., that, these aren't irrational thoughts. So that's number one. I'll kind of expand on what I mean in a sec. Number two is kind of tempering expectations for happiness and what it means to be happy and enjoy things, I think they're both very important for me to do. Now, let's start off with the first one. I kind of had this feeling for a lot of my life as I was getting older, and I was kind of being made more aware of how fucking crazy shit is and how awful it can be, that essentially, that I felt like I was, a little bit crazy sometimes compared to a lot of people, because there's a lot of people out there who seem to be able to just function and they don't really think about this shit and they're just doing fine. They're doing great. But really, if you kind of take a step back and you look at the world and you see how insane it is and how overseas, not even overseas, people all the time are dying horribly, unfortunately, there's people getting bombed, there's people getting murdered. It's just, there's all sorts of awful things. There's no shortage of terrible things that are going on. And, we are, I would say gradually, but I think rapidly destroying the world through, environmental damage and global warming, etc., etc. We have stockpiles of nuclear arms that could destroy the world many times over, and it's a miracle that we haven't done so already since their invention. There are crazy people in charge all the time. It's just, things look bleak. Things look very, very bleak often. Which is sad. And on top of that, you're in your day-to-day life, people that end up dying, they end up getting, diseases. Things seem to be happening with no rhyme or reason. They just kind of happen. People say everything happens for a reason. I do not believe that one bit. I think things just happen. And you got to deal with it. And that's about all you can do. And so, there's people dying. You realize that one day you will die, and it will most likely not be pleasant. It's probably not going to be peacefully in the night. It's probably going to be due to something like cancer or whatever. It will not be a pleasant time. That's terrifying. It's terrifying to think about that. And you think about what happens after you die. Now, I am not a religious person, so I think that probably nothing happens after you die. But there's the possibility that something happens after you die, and I couldn't tell you which possibility is more terrifying, to be honest. They are both, equally terrifying to me in different ways. Maybe not equally, but they're both terrifying. And, so you're kind of, you have this stuff, you're thinking, is free will even real, yada, 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 having an existential crisis in the shower in the morning. It's a beautiful thing. I kind of think on a certain level that you have to be irrational to not get freaked out by all the shit that's going on and to feel down about reality and existence and the world, the state of the world. You'd have to be kind of insane not to, in a certain way. That's my stance, and kind of just realizing that and letting myself know, no, I'm not the crazy one. I am, one of plenty of people. It's not a novel thing to think, but just, I don't think that it's, you looking at it reality in an incorrect way to think that it's terrifying. So that kind of helped me. It just, it wasn't necessarily doing much other than being like, all right, I can exist with this. I don't need to change my perspective necessarily, but I need to change my kind of coping mechanisms, how to exist in this crazy, crazy reality. And one of the ways that's kind of helped me with that is tempering my expectations when it comes to happiness, okay? That might sound kind of negative when I put it like that, people would think, well, why would you lower your expectations for what it means to be happy? But I actually think it's a positive thing in the way that I'm about to describe it. So, kind of growing up, I would partake, in various events. I would go to parties, I would go to, shows and things like that. But I always kind of had this feeling like I was missing something. I was missing out on something that everybody seemed to have access to, that everybody was getting for free. And I kind of developed this feeling from kind of looking at people's posts on social media, like Instagram stories, et cetera, et cetera. They have these big group photos of everybody smiling, and it looks like they're having the time of their lives. There's people going to these music festivals, and they're having the time of their lives for a different reason, which I will get into. But, there's movies, these big epic moments. There's movies like, Project X, where it's this huge party and it has all this drama, and you think that it's like, that your life needs to be full of those big, huge moments, those life-defining moments all the time. And I was always feeling like I'm missing out on something. There's people that are getting this, and I'm not one of them. And then I kind of came to the conclusion, that at least with the way that I'm wired, I just don't experience things like that, and that's okay. Now, there are things that I think there are plenty of people that probably share the same thing as me. Like, you go to a show, it's one of your favorite artists, you're having a good time, and there kind of comes a certain point, it's usually towards the tail end of the show for me, where I kind of realize it's like, yeah, this is pretty cool, but I'm kind of about ready to go home. And you kind of get this twinge of guilt, like I should be, like loving this, and this should be everything. This should be this huge moment, where I'm just in complete bliss. This is an amazing event that I want it to be this beautiful memory and this beautiful thing. And it is in its own way, but just the expectations I was setting for myself for how much I was going to enjoy the event, I was never going to live up to. And I think that there are certain people that feel the same way that I do when they go to a party or they go to a concert or whatever, a music festival, and they try to make up that difference between their reality and their expectation for their enjoyment by supplementing it with drugs, right? Now, I'm not here to, preach against using drugs. I personally choose to mostly not use them. The two drugs I use is everyday caffeine, every day, of course. It is a drug. And secondly, occasional weed smoking. I'll toke every once in a while just with some friends, but not that often. I think last time I did it was back in July. I don't know, just every once in a while you want to just chill out and have a good time with your homies. It's a good camping drug, there you go. But I do not partake in anything harder than that. That's all I've done. I've taken sips of alcohol. I don't even drink that shit. My family's full of alcoholics. We don't need another one. So I choose not to partake in that kind of thing. But I'm getting sidetracked. Anyway, what I'm saying is I think that there are certain people that feel like they need to have this euphoria, this kind of experience that's like transcendent of what they're going to be feeling by default. But I'm here to tell you, I don't think that you do. I think that you can kind of just lower your expectations and you'll enjoy things a lot more when you do so. If you try to talk yourself out of feeling guilty for not having these mind-blowing experiences and just having a normal experience that you enjoy, and just focus on enjoying it for what it is and not feeling like you need to be going above and beyond. You're just there, present in the moment and trying to enjoy it. That helped me a lot personally to kind of be overall a happier person, a more functioning person, and have a better mood, I would say. Not setting expectations for myself for how I'm going to enjoy life. And this kind of brings me to my next topic, which is there's kind of a term out there, and it's kind of probably overused, overblown a little bit. I heard the term probably first, I don't know if it was first, but I heard about it through a cheesy fucking corporate seminar that I took, actually, at my last job. So that should tell you about some of the people who are preaching that sort of thing. But I think there's some truth to it, and I just want to go over it from my perspective. And it's the term is mindfulness. So you may have heard this, but kind of another way of framing it is essentially present-mindedness. Now, there's a little bit more to it than that, which I'll get into, but you can think of it as present-mindedness for the most part. So what I'm talking about is basically trying not to worry about the future and trying not to think about the past, like how you fucked up. So basically all the shit that you need to be doing, all the shit that's going to happen, and, everything that you fucked up on, and just trying to exist in the moment, take things as they are right now, and focus on your immediate concerns. That can be, the people around you, etc., etc. And the thing that really is kind of the enemy of this in a lot of ways, and I hate to sound boomer-pilled, but it is your phone in a lot of ways. Now, I don't know about you, but I am completely, hopelessly addicted to my phone. I am checking it all the time. There's, an MGMT song, Can't Stop Checking My Phone. That is me, especially now that I've got this fucking YouTube shit. I am a victim of liking to see liking the number going up. So I love to see, it's like, ooh, I got 15 more subscribers in the last X number of hours, I just, that's me. I like to keep peeping that shit, which is dumb, but I do it anyway. Anyway, my whole point is that, you have this little device in your pocket that is, incredible in a lot of ways. You can just fact check. It's amazing. But you also, it's also a doorway to existential dread at any given moment. So you can pop open X now, the dumbest fucking name change on the face of the earth. I don't even know if I want to keep it around, but Blue Sky is a little bit more positive, but it's still, a funky company, whatever. Anyway, you open up these apps and you start to just, they call it doom scrolling, where you're just kind of going through all the things and seeing how awful the world is at any moment, and you can do it when you're hanging out with your friends. You could do it when you're, on the bus. You could do it anytime you want. You could do it while you're driving. I would not recommend that. That's illegal. Hey, buddy, that's illegal. But, it's kind of a problem. And I think that for me, something that I've been trying to work on is just my relationship with my phone. Because it does take me out of the moment, when I'm using it, and that's something, being in the moment is something that greatly helps my mental health. And I can tell you firsthand, like the times that I feel most at peace in my life, not worrying about things, not feeling like down in the dumps, are the times where I'm just focusing on a couple of things, a couple of people that I enjoy, and then just trying to exist. And I don't have any expectations, we're just existing, and it's a good time. One of my favorite things to do is to be around good people with good, coffee or snacks or whatever in a good setting. And that is really it. And I could not want for more. So, for example, my friends and I, we do like walk and talk sessions. We haven't done them as super recently, so I gotta get back into that with the boys. But we just walk around. Usually at night we just check things out, and we just yap the whole time. We talk to each other, and we just focus on the conversation. We'll stop at the 7-Eleven, get some energy drinks or some of that nitro cold brew, whatever we want, and then we just keep walking and chatting. It can be about anything and everything. And one of my friends now, he likes to go on bro drives, and I'm all about it. So we just get in the car and go driving, listening to some music, chatting, seeing the scenery change. It's a good time. There's not a whole lot of stimulation, and so you're just kind of like existing with your buds, being totally present. And I feel at ease and I feel at peace. It is a great thing to do. It takes me out of whatever shit that I'm going through and kind of grounds me. So those things really help. I can tell you camping is an amazing hobby. I absolutely love camping. You go out with some friends and you can't even get on your phone anymore, and you can just kind of like exist around a fire. It's a beautiful thing. I can tell you that probably the most healthy period of time in my life where I felt like my mental health was at its best was right after I graduated from college, and I went on a 2.5-month backpacking trip with some friends, where we road tripped, and then we stop at national parks. We're just kind of wandering the country and checking out national parks and seeing what trails they had available, and then just hiking them and camping. And it was a really beautiful time, an absolutely beautiful time that I would absolutely love to do something like that again. Like if like a gap period ends up lining up with a friend, I would do it in a heartbeat. That was an amazing time. Now, I say amazing. You'll notice I did not say fun, because most of the time it was not fun. Any of you who have been backpacking will probably know what I mean. At least if you're kind of a noob at backpacking like I am. That was the first time I'd ever gone. But a lot of backpacking is pain. Okay? I got some fucked up flat feet, so my feet were hurting the whole time. We were walking for miles and miles at a time, and my feet were just in constant agony. And you're carrying this pack, and it's really just kind of a matter of where do you want the pain right now. Your shoulders start to hurt, so you loosen the straps in your shoulder and you tighten it on your waist. Then your waist starts to hurt a little bit more, and then you loosen that and tighten it on your shoulders. It's just it's a balancing act. And so you're getting eaten by bugs, or covering yourself in you're digging holes in the ground and shitting into the hole. It's not a pretty time. Well, it is pretty, there's beautiful views and stuff, but the whole thing though was that the only thing that I had to focus on during that time was getting from point A to point B. And that was it. There was nothing else that I needed to worry about. I was like, all right, this is 2.5 months where all I'm doing is, I'm with the boys. We're like, where do you want to go? We go to this national park, we hike, and all you do is you just do the hike, You're camping out, you get to camp, you set up, you cook some food, you conk out, you wake up, you do it again in the morning. And you just keep doing that. And when you're done, you say, where do you want to go next? I don't know, let's go here. And then you're on your way. Things are simple. They're not always happy, they're not always great, but they are simple. And that's the thing, is our lives have gotten more and more complex. And I'm not like a curmudgeon, I'm not going to fucking talk about how terrible tech is, because obviously I'm a software engineer. I would be completely hypocritical. I think that technology overall makes our lives better for the most part. I would say that, nuclear weapons, no. But, just as a rule, I think that most technological advancements improve our quality of life to some extent. And so I'm not going to say, I'm not going to be like, oh, we have to go live in the woods again. No, that isn't even viable for probably most people. What I'm saying is that you just need to find a way to manage the complexity. You got so many responsibilities. And so what I'm saying is you need to be able to kind of focus down your view on what you need to be doing, or else you're going to go crazy, which I do all the time. I will get overwhelmed and I'm like, I have so many things to do that I'm just not even going to do anything, and I'm going to sit here and I'm going to watch YouTube videos, and then I will fall behind on my responsibility, and it ain't pretty, and that just keeps happening. So, you need to find healthy ways to narrow your scope on a day-to-day basis, moment-to-moment basis, and just kind of, whatever that looks like. It could be a to-do list where you make a list, prioritize everything, start at the top, and then, just start going down. And don't even think about the later tasks until you finish the first couple, right? It could be something like that. But one of the things, too, that just helps me is just finding little ways to ground myself in the moment. So basically enjoying the little things in life. So there's all sorts of ways that you can try to stay on top of your shit. But ultimately, if I'm feeling overwhelmed and I'm feeling stressed out and I'm feeling down in the dumps, the things that are going to help me get out of that slump are going to be the little things. As I said earlier, these big grandiose events, they aren't necessary all the time. I think you definitely want to, push yourself to do things that are outside of your comfort zone, but most of the time, you're not going to have the means to do this sort of thing, nor would you even want to have these crazy events happening all the time. And so what's going to benefit you is to find the ways to enjoy small things in life and truly appreciate them in the moment. Now, there's kind of a tendency towards overstimulation in our lives, and I do it all the time. I will be, watching a video while I'm playing a game and eating snacks and yada, yada, yada. We all do it. We all do that shit. But I just think that it benefits me to take a little bit of time to try to be in the moment and appreciating things kind of one at a time, right? Not trying to dilute any of the individual experiences and trying to just embrace each of them one at a time, I'm not saying you have to do this all the time. There's the meme where it's like, I subject you to YouTube without food. Or no, sorry, food without YouTube. People feel like it's like, if I'm eating, I need to be watching something. I'm not saying you don't need to do that, or you can't do that. I'm just saying, like, take a few moments in your food and YouTube and try to appreciate each thing individually. Look at your food. I appreciate this for, X, Y, and Z reason. Try to kind of practice gratitude in a certain way. That really helps me out. Just trying to enjoy things to their fullest extent. It doesn't need to be a rush. Just kind of slow down, chill out, and be like, I really love this coffee. This is great. I love this. And it kind of reminds you that, yes, the world is terrible, but there's still beautiful moments to be had and found in the small moments. It can be a visit to your family, to your friends, just existing in the moment and reflecting and being like, this is great. This is the reason why I keep going, despite all of the existential dread and terror. These little moments, they add up, and they make a better picture, a less bleak picture of what things can be. And so that's kind of my spiel. It's kind of my point. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that life is beautiful, because it isn't a lot of the time. Sorry to say it. It fucking sucks a lot of the time. Arguably most of the time. But that's how it is. And we're all dealing with it to varying degrees. Like, even if you're not directly affected by, if your life isn't directly terrible, there are horrible things that are happening. I mean, you look overseas, you see Ukraine and, Russia, you see Israel, Palestine. Oh my God. Every time I think about that, I can't fucking deal with the horrible shit that's going on in that area. It is absolutely heartbreaking. And if I had to stare at that and think about it every moment of every day, I would lose my mind. It's incredible that those people find a way to go on with how awful things are. It is truly appalling. But my point is, one of the things I just want to close this out with is that I don't think that you should ignore these things. That is not what I'm trying to tell you. I think it's very, very important to realize these things, understand them, and sit with them, and really let it affect you, Practicing empathy, staying informed, staying up to date, trying to make a difference, I'm not saying to not do any of that. I just think you need to be conscious about it, in my opinion. I can't function if I just get, for lack of a better word, jump scared by something awful that happens in the world. If I'm just at my job and I'm scrolling through, like, Twitter mindlessly, and then I start to see the excuse me, the next atrocity that happens, the next awful thing that happens. It's like that does so much damage to my day. What I'm saying is, you should have those moments. You should have those moments where you reflect on things and you realize how awful they are and try to help, donate to charity, do whatever you can, stay conscious of these things, but you need to do them selectively. You need to be able to tune them out when you need to get shit done for the day. But if it's like a weekend, a weekend night, you've gotten your chores out of the way, I think it does some good to empathize with your fellow man, and try to stew in the misery for a bit, because I don't think that existence is all about happiness. I don't think that you need to be happy all the time. I think that it's very human not to be happy, and that is fine. There's nothing wrong with being unhappy. You should not try to avoid it. You should just accept it when it comes and sit in it and let it pass, and then say, I will keep going on, because there's plenty of it, and reflecting on it is going to be what keeps you human. There's a lot of people out there that try to just be positive all the time, and I just don't think that is the approach that I would take. I'm not going to say it's not the right approach, it's just not the approach that I would take. I think that you lose your empathy if you try to do that. If you try to just tell yourself all the time, life is beautiful, life is amazing, everything about it is wonderful, you lose something. You lose perspective, And so I don't think that you should even necessarily strive to be happy all the time or most of the time. You should just strive to accomplish your goals and try to enjoy things. Don't worry about, am I happy right now or not? Just exist and let things happen and go about your life and try to enjoy the little things. Even if you're, feeling down, try to appreciate the things that you have in the moment. That's all I got to say. I'm kind of on a soapbox right now. What I'm saying isn't very profound, to be honest. But it's just shit that helps me when I'm feeling down. And I don't know, I just wanted to share it. different than my other content. I'm just kind of yapping before I go to work today. But hopefully, some people got something out of this. I don't know. I didn't script any of this shit, so I was probably all over the place. But, I hope that if you relate to this, some of my advice can help you. As I said before, I don't take my own advice half the time, unfortunately. If I was better about practicing what I preach, I would probably be a more functioning person. But as it stands, I try to do my best every day to practice these things, and they help me stay a little bit more sane. But, above all else, just know that if you're having a rough time, if you're having a lot of existential angst and you're going through an existential crisis, I'm right there with you. You're not crazy. What you're feeling is totally valid, and I think plenty of people feel the way that you do. So with that in mind, hope you have a kick-ass day. I hope you get a lot done. Or not, just take a day to chill and just be in the moment. Do whatever you want to do. But on that note, I will talk to you all later. Bye-bye.